Hello, Lake Morton Community Church family. I hope you are having a great Wednesday and a great week overall. Wanted to take an opportunity to invite you to a new discipleship class that will be starting this Sunday called Delighting in the Trinity. That title is borrowed from a book that we will use, or that I will use as a guide for this class, called Delighting in the Trinity by Michael Reeves. It's an excellent book, and would encourage you to read it as a companion if you're so inclined. But even if you don't, I think you'll get a lot out of this class. The purpose of this class is to explore why is the Trinity central to our faith, but also why have we in the West and in American Christianity in general tended to underemphasize the Trinity. If you ask an American Christian what's the most essential thing for you to believe to be a Christian, you might hear something about believing in the death and resurrection of Jesus. Certainly that is central to our faith. But if you ask that question in the year 400 AD, the first thing you would likely hear is, to be a Christian, you must believe in the Trinity. You must believe that God is a triune God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Why is it that the early church saw the Trinity as so fundamental to their faith? Why is it that they believed you couldn't even have a Christian faith without the Trinity? And why is it that we, for so long in the modern world, have kind of taken the Trinity for granted? And we assume it, we know it's there, we believe it, we affirm it, but we don't spend a lot of time talking about it. We don't necessarily spend a lot of time thinking about the Trinity, or thinking about what the Trinity teaches us about our faith and about who we are as Christians. Let me give you just one example. When we say God is love, quoting from 1 John, God is love, we're saying something not just about an action of God, but we're saying something about the essence of God. That in his very nature he is love. But what is assumed in that? If in his very nature God is love, then it tells us that God has to be a plurality in his nature, right? A God who is not a Trinity, right? A mono-person God. He can show love to humans, but he can't be love in his essence, because in order to be love, there has to be a shared relationship. But God from eternity past is love, to the point that John could say this is part of his essence. He is love. Why is that? Well, John understands something about God, which is that from eternity past, God has always existed as one God in three persons, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, who share a mutual bond of love with one another, and then that love overflows to us in salvation. So that's just one example where you remove the Trinity and some of the most fundamental things we believe about God begin to fall apart. So I invite you to come and be a part of this class and learn with us as we explore these questions about why the Trinity sometimes gets underemphasized, why it is central, what is it important for us to say about the Trinity, why is it that we tend to back away from this very mysterious doctrine that is so fundamental to our faith. And the goal in this is not just that we would learn about the Trinity, not just that we would say more true things about God as a triune God, but that we would delight in the Trinity, that we would see that the fact that God is one God in three persons should fill us with joy and delight, that he is a God who in his essence is love and communion and fellowship, and he now draws us into that and invites us, pulls us into that fellowship through the work of his Son, Jesus. So I hope you'll join us 9:15 every Sunday in the Ministry Center. I think it's going to be a great study. I want it to be interactive, so come ready with questions and ready for participation, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks.